So I'm really excited to have Stephen with me today on this video, and we're going to be walking through what street text is, why or why not you want to use it, and how it all started. So Stephen, if you can introduce yourself and give a little background about how street text came about and what the vision was for it.
Perfect. Thanks, Selena. So my name is Steve Whiting. We've had actually street text since 24. Well, I guess actually since 2012 in total, but since 2014, really on the Facebook side. So definitely been in the business a long time. And the 2014 is when we really shifted everything to Facebook and Instagram at that time. And the kind of like the reason we created it was really around a word that we had heard at that time, or a phrase, I guess, around predictable revenue. Have you ever heard of that, Alina? Have you heard of predictable revenue?
I've maybe once or twice, but I don't know what it is.
It was actually around email at the time, and it was a system where there was a sales guy working at Salesforce, and he basically was on the sales side, and he was trying to create predictable revenue for himself. And so he ended up sending out all these mass emails every single day, and he would book appointments. And I thought to myself, I think we can do that through Facebook. We could do the same thing. We could create predictable revenue. And I really dove into the concept with some agents that we were working with at the time, because street text actually started out with textable sign writers. So it was back in the day where you could text for information on a phone, and that's really where the name came from. But then we started experimenting a lot more on the social media side. And the concept of predictable revenue it really just took off, because at that time, specifically, advertising at that scale, really targeted, was only really available for big businesses. You needed to have a big budget, you wanted to be on TV, this is, obviously a number of years ago now. But even with all of the big platforms, it still can be quite technical to run ads on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Google PPC and then TikTok. And if you want, if you want to be on Snapchat as well, and you got to know how to run all of those different platforms and figure it out. And so we wanted to simplify that. That was really the plan, like make it easy to run ads, but make it more than anything predictable. Because the reason the big businesses run ads, and what we started doing ourselves, which we then gave to our clients, is that if you could spend a certain amount of money and you could see your numbers the whole way through, and you could actually get an ROI on that in a certain period of time, then you could reinvest in that ad strategy and just keep growing. And then you could add and build a team around it. And so what we realized is that all of the fastest growing, biggest real estate agents in the world already have a great service. They do a great job on all of those fronts, but they all have advertising built in. And the reason they do that is because it's the flywheel, right? The more leads that you generate, the more that you convert, you get more referrals out of that. And then it just repeats and it just keeps going. And the database gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, whenever you send an email, like some of our biggest clients, whenever they ever send an email, they always get listings or they always get buyers, because the database is so big now that, the response rate only has to be so small to always have that perpetual business coming in. So it's a long way of answering. That was really what we were looking at to solve. We did it actually first for ourselves. Every single thing we sell to real estate agents, we do the exact same thing in our business. And that's how we got started.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's probably a really rare thing to hear, that companies sell a product that they themselves are also using. So on the front of Facebook being complicated, I am on I've experienced that, where I've been trying to do Facebook ads, and they've got 3 different tabs you go through, and I always get like yellow errors and red errors, and you want to pull your hair out. So can you explain a little bit more about how street text helps simplify Facebook ads and creation?
And have you ever gone to Facebook and you had a method of doing it, and then all of a sudden it changed, like their UI changed, and like the buttons over here,
every day it seems like they change.
And it literally feels like it's every day. Like it's bizarre why they do it that way. But anyway, so obviously we simplify that side in street text. If you're going to run ads, you don't even need to go into the Facebook's ad manager. You can do it all through street text. But what we've also simplified, it's really data driven, is that, when you're running ads, some of it's compliance. So, you obviously as a real estate agent, you want to be running your ads to the housing category. You want to make sure you don't miss that. There's certain targeting you can use. There's certain audiences you can't use. There's, you got to have there's a bunch of stuff that you can and can't do. So obviously we got you covered on that front. But then what we also do is we look at all the placements that you run ads to and which ones are working. What type of ad copy and images are working and what's not working. And we make those available in templates. So and you've experienced the platform, but if you logged into StreetText and you saw all of available templates, you can actually see that they're organized first by stats. So the best performing ads based on the lowest cost per lead are going to be at the top, and they're going to go down from there. And then when you launch an ad, you literally just select the ad you want, or like the copy. Sometimes you can edit a little bit of it, but we really don't let you edit much because it's really just because it works and you can see the stats. You can change the image, you can do a little bit of there. And then you just click next, and you choose the area you want to target. You don't choose placements. You don't have to think about any of that. And you don't have to choose your additional targeting. And then you just click launch and the ad launches. And the other really beautiful thing, because we're built on the back of obviously Facebook and Instagram, is that typically, if all goes well, like what I mean goes well is like sometimes Facebook can be in a longer review process. Sometimes it can be faster. But if all goes well and your ad is reviewed in 20 or 30 or 40 minutes, sometimes within just a few hours, you've got leads coming into your system. And you went from, didn't have to know anything about Facebook or how ads work to having leads come into your system. And now you can focus on learning and spending more time on the nurturing and the follow-up side and everything else. So that's really what we do. We simplify it that way.
Yeah, cool. So on the subject of data, 2 follow-up questions to that. One is, how are you gathering those stats on those templates?
So when agents run ads through our platform, because it's launching through our system, we can aggregate that data. So, when we have an ad, say we have, let's just say 1,000 agents launch a particular type of ad, and they're all spending, I'll just say $10 a day. We have quite a bit of budget then behind that one template. And so we can track that over a period of say 30 days. We can see how well that ad is doing across North America. If it's trending up, it's trending down. We can also see small variations, like if we're doing experiments with different placements or ad copy, we can see, are those placements performing better or worse with that data? So where a traditional advertiser isn't going to spend that much money, but more importantly, they have nobody to benchmark it against. Like if you were logging into your account and you just wanted to spend $1,000 a day on an ad, that's great, but you really don't know how are 999 other advertisers using the same thing you are. How is it comparing? And that's one of the things that makes StreetText so powerful, is that if you're launching one of our ads that's at the top, it's going to work. I guess I can't guarantee it's going to work, but it's very likely it's going to work for you.
Right. It has a proven track record.
And then you can iterate on that if you want to. Like we have custom templates that you can make changes to, and with some templates you can make some changes. But at the end of the day, unless you want to spend a lot of time experimenting and spending a lot of money, just use the proven campaigns and you get the results you're looking for.
Yeah. So my second follow-up question to that is, one of the features I really love about StreetText is the split testing. I just did it with this ad I ran where I did a 3-way split test, and it was crazy the differences I saw, where one, I didn't generate any leads, and so that one turned off after a day, and then there were 2 that were pretty neck and neck. So can you go into the philosophy of split testing and how that works?
I'm so glad you mentioned that. And I actually wish I had a great example to show, because we have many. Obviously you've seen one yourself, but it is truly powerful when you experience it. And what happens is that when you're running an ad, especially for real estate agents, you're typically in a 15-mile radius, which means that you're targeting a lot of people at one time, not just a few people, but a lot of people. And when you launch just one ad, if you launch just one ad, what Facebook is going to do is they're going to take that, they always go through a learning phase with your ad. So they actually limit how many people they see your ad. They create like a subset of like an audience that they feel might be valuable. They're trying to match your ad to an audience in that 15-mile radius. And then they wait for about 500 impressions to see how the ad's performing, engagement, if there's any comments, likes, but overall like interest in the ad. Then they give you a price, like a CPM, like how much that audience costs. And then they open up that ad to the wider audience that matches that audience within the 15 miles. And so where advertisers make a mistake sometimes is they think that's how well the ad's going to perform, is based on that one ad. what we discovered and why you run the 3 ad split test is that when you run a 3 ad split test of exactly the same image, same copy, same everything, Facebook isn't going to show those ads to the same subset. They're trying different audiences. And so now you have 3 chances to find the right audience for your ad. And so over that period of, sometimes just 24 hours or 48 hours, or depending how much budget you have behind the ad, you can, to your point, you can sometimes see, like, I'll make numbers up, but we've seen this where one ad is at $10 a lead, maybe one ad's at $12 a lead, and one ad's at $5 a lead, as an example. Now you can turn off the 2 non-performing ones, keep the best performing lead price, and let that ad continue. But if you hadn't have done the split test and you had launched one that was, say, $12 a lead, you would have just assumed that was the result. So now you're spending $12 a lead. And typically, for a period of time at least, and it used to be longer, but it can still be quite long, you will maintain that lead price. It will maybe go up a little bit, or sometimes come down a little bit, but you'll kind of be within that range for a while. Eventually, it'll lose performance and you'll have to start over. But you'll spend about $12 a lead, and that's kind of the. But now that you did the split test, you could keep the $5 a lead. So it's very powerful. It's built into our platform. When you launch an ad, you can do that automatic split test. It could be 3 ads, 5 ads, but we found 3 ads is a really good. It's a good blend. It seems to hit quite well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was about to be my next question of how many splits do you do? Do you do 5, 20? So good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we did this, we had this call. One of the things you wanted to talk about was returned leads. Can you go a little bit into that and how that works with StreetText?
This one, I think I'm going to use a visual on it. I'm just going to go into Chases will be nice enough, hopefully, to let me do this here really quick. Maybe you can blur some stuff out in time, but I'll show you here something really, really quick. The power of a return lead. And so when you're running lead gen ads or remarketing, and we can talk more about the remarketing in a little bit. And I'm just picking one lead out of millions, in the sense of, like, this happens over and over and over again. But what you'll notice here is that in this particular example, this lead first came in on the 5th. And actually, I should almost pick one that's wider apart, but it doesn't really matter. I'll show you. This is how engaged this lead is. And this is good to see too. They first actually came in, you can see on this particular ad here, on a downsized ad. But then literally 2 days later, they were engaging with an entirely different ad, actually a listing that was going on. And then a day later, they engaged on an entirely new ad, a different listing. And if you couldn't track this, or you couldn't see it, you wouldn't have the visibility into what this particular lead is looking at, or even contacting your database. It doesn't have to even be a lead. It could be all your contacts when you're running your marketing. And so this becomes really, really powerful at building and understanding what people are looking at, not just on your website, because that obviously is really nice. Like, if you can see what people are looking at your website, that's great. But it's also really powerful here, because in this particular example, it's all listing related. But we have many, many ads that you might run where it's like it's a PDF guide, or it's a resource around buying or selling, or if you're thinking about selling, maybe these are the top 3 questions as an example that you might want to know. And you might notice that a lead was engaging with some of your ads a year ago, and they've been quiet. And then all of a sudden, they're downloading a couple guides around, things to look for when you're thinking about selling your home. That becomes an enormous opportunity to then reach out again and just restart that conversation. And so that's the power behind return leads. I actually don't know of anybody that does it like we do. And I think it's because what StreetText was really centered on from the very beginning, like the way we built our system from the ground up. And at the time, it actually was more work and we regretted it, but now we're so happy we did it, is it's all centered around attribution. We had no idea that iOS 14 was coming when we started. And because we have completely focused on attribution, which means that we can track and see what people are doing with your ads, we can give you really good visibility into your marketing. When iOS 14 came, a lot of that was lost. And Facebook did a good job, so people just relied on it. But then they became It was harder for them to do it, but because we're using a lot of first party data and because of the way we built our system, we can track all that visibility. So it's really powerful to see what a lead is actually engaging with on your content side.
That's very cool. A side note that we won't include in this recording is I just saw Pantana. Jason Pantana, is that his first name?
Oh, yes. Like Tom Ferry guy?
Yeah. He posted on Instagram saying that Facebook reversed all of their extra compliance stuff you have to go through for iOS 14. Like somehow they've built it in-house or something.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'd love to see that post and kind of see more specifically. It's because it's not really enforced by Facebook, right? It's actually enforced by Apple. So it's the iOS 14 is an Apple requirement that Facebook had to comply to. They had no choice. And so unless Apple's removed that, which I doubt they will, but I imagine that Facebook's got smarter and better. I mean, their model is to figure this out. Google is also just announcing now in their new Chrome extension, they're controlling a lot of the privacy settings too. So, and when it comes to the advertising landscape, it's quite complex and it's only going to get more complex. And that's also why I think tools like us are valuable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll send you that post. I'll find it. Okay. Well, so on the topic of systems, I really want to take a little bit of time and do a deep dive into the integration with Follow Boss. I'm sure a lot of people watching this use Follow Boss, and y'all just announced an integration with them, and it's really cool and powerful.
Can we pause for a second? I'm actually going to bring up my own account then really quick.
Sure. Yeah.
Because then I can go into it a bit more in depth and I can kind of. All right, just logging in. Okay. You want to kind of re-ask it, or should I just take it from there?
Yeah, we'll just cut it.
Okay. Yes, I'd love to show you the integration. So I will actually go into actually pause. I should log into Follow Boss too. Sorry.
That's okay.
Otherwise, everybody will see all the usernames. Let me just go log into my account. Cool. All right. Okay.
And you can use blur mode if you're showing Follow Boss.
Oh yeah, but I'm in my own account. It won't matter anymore.
Oh, okay.
All right. Aline, I'm glad you asked that. Love to show you the Follow Boss integration. We're really excited about it. Our team went above and beyond on this because it's not just about having leads sent to Follow Boss. It's about really integrating the two platforms together. And so I'm in a demo account. I'm just in my demo account here. So obviously all the information is going to be just kind of fake information. But what I wanted to kind of show you first and foremost is that the StreetText system, once you've integrated, so if I went to, I'll just open up a new tab here really quick. If I went to integrations, there is a option here where you can sync up Follow Boss directly to StreetText. And it's really easy. You just put in your API key from Follow Boss and you can sync the system together. But once it's synced together, all of your, and you have options. So you also have some permissions. So you can control, like, do I want everything synced, or do I want to just be one way synced or both ways synced? And you have those options. But I encourage you to sync it the two ways with all the options. And the reason is that now everything that's happening in StreetText is actually happening is the same as Follow Boss. For example, if I added a tag to this lead here, if I added any tag at all, it's going to add to Follow Boss. If you add that same a different tag in Follow Boss, it's going to automatically come back to StreetText. If you change any information on this lead, like literally the moment I change any detail here whatsoever, you'll instantly see a change in Follow Boss. Another really cool thing is if you go to stages, if I look at any of these stages, these are not StreetText stages. These are the exact stages that I would then have in Follow Boss. So if I went down here and I went to my custom stages, you can see here are all those stages, right? So, and why that becomes so powerful is now if I want to create audiences specifically around the what's going on in Follow Boss, I can do that and I can run ads specifically to those audiences. So for example, let's say I just wanted to, actually, maybe I'll just back it up for a quick second. If any of you have been creating custom audiences on Facebook, because you want to run, let's say you want to run you want to run ads to everybody in your lead stage, as an example, in Follow Up Boss. You would have to go into Follow Up Boss, you would download a CSV file of all those leads, then you have to go to Facebook, and then you have to upload that list to Facebook, and you can create a custom audience with that list. And then you would go to your ads manager or to your ads, and you would run ads or select ads and choose that audience in Facebook. And now you can run ads to those people in your lead stage in Follow Up Boss. The challenge, of course, is that the moment a new lead comes in or a lead leaves the lead stage in Follow Up Boss, it's outdated. And now if you want to update that, you got to go and repeat that exact same process over and over again. But with StreetText, it's all in sync and it's all available here for you. So for instance, if I wanted to create a, let's say I want to run ads specifically to, I'll say the lead stage here, and I want to click show results. It'll be an almost perfect match unless any email addresses are missing. So you can see it's basically about the exact same as Follow Up Boss. And then what I can do here is I can now save this. So I'll create this one. We'll call this one Alina lead stage. So it'll be easy for us to see in when we're creating the audience. But if I click save, I've now created that brand new filter in StreetText. And I'm going to go ahead and sync that to Facebook. And then I'm going to show you how it stays updated. So for instance, if I go here, I'll see that this is this brand new audience I can create. The moment I click this button, it's actually creating it and has already created it on Facebook side. So I can see here now on the left-hand side, I can see this is my filter here. And the moment that any lead meets this requirement, in this case, deal stages lead, they're going to be added to this audience. And if we're running ads to this audience, it's going to automatically show those people those ads. But if I took this lead and moved them to a different stage, either in StreetText or Follow Up Boss, and we're running ads to this audience, that person is going to be pulled out of this audience. So it's a really great way of keeping all of your audiences in sync with Facebook. And you can go even further. Like I did it on deal stage, but you could also do it on all of the tags. So I could do it on, say, deal stage is lead, but I also want to do it on, say, if they have a seller tag, and I can show results. And now I'm going to be narrowing that down, in this case, to about 119 people, which is probably too small a list to run it to. I wouldn't go anything under probably about 200 or 250. But nonetheless, I can target this 119 people by now deal stage and a particular tag, and I can actually create that as an audience on Facebook as well and run ads specifically to it. So in a quick high level, leads will be sent instantly back and forth, so much faster. So that's a great advantage with the API in and of itself. Two-way sync, any information that changes, it'll stay synced up. But the most exciting part is you can then run these custom audiences linked to Facebook. And you can see here that it doesn't have to even be leads coming from StreetText. Those leads can be coming into Follow Up Boss from anywhere. You can bring them into StreetText and you can link your ads up, like your remarketing ads as an example, and have that go only specific audiences. So that's a quick way of explaining it. I don't know if you wanted to dive into more on that, Alina, if that, what are your thoughts?
No, yeah, I think that's a very good explanation. I love that this integration exists for Follow Up Boss and Facebook because it kind of ties into your philosophy of showing the right ad at the right time to the right person. So for instance, if you do have a large enough list of people that are tagged seller, you make sure you create a custom audience in Facebook for that. So you're only showing seller ads and you're not wasting money and wasting people's time of showing sellers a buyer ad if they want to sell their home instead, or vice versa, selling buyers a seller ad.
That's a great example. So I'm just obviously in a demo account here, but let me just grab, let me see if I won't actually be able to launch it from the demo account, but let me just show you an example where, let's say that we wanted to run this ad because it was, we were running it to our sellers. So 25 factors that directly impact your home value. So to Alina's point, seller focused remarketing ad. You don't want it to show to everybody. You want to focus on the seller side. If I click next, and next, I will now be able to select that audience that we just created together right now in that moment that's based on the lead stage and Follow Up Boss. And we're only going to show this ad now to everybody that's in this specific audience going forward.
Very cool. Yeah. And so as you're screen sharing, one other thing I wanted to show was the ad rotation and sort of avoiding ad fatigue and how you're able to automatically rotate ads on a schedule.
You may have to pause for a second. I'll have to see. I'll just quickly see if I've got any. I almost wonder, I might show you a real account on that.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'll go into Chase's got some great examples. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, I'd love to show you how the ad bundles work. So the ad bundles were created specifically to kind of hit two pain points. One pain point was cost, and the other one was I don't want to be bombarding everybody in my database all the time. And so we created ad bundles. So for example, let's say, just like we just talked about, we created that the sellers list for everybody that's in your lead stage. And we want to show ads specifically to them. And there's a whole bunch of content we want to show our lead stage. We want to show them some testimonials, and we want to show them a whole bunch of seller ads. We want to show them all the PDF ads that StreetText has built out already that you can use because they have great content. And you want to launch those. And let's say there's about 20 ads you want to launch. So you launch all those 20 ads, and you want to keep your budget in check. So you put them all at $1 a day. If you launch all of those ads and you want them running to that lead stage, you're still going to be spending $20 a day, because 20 ads times $1 a day, you're spending $20 a day. And so you're going to be showing all those ads kind of at the same time to that audience. So what we've designed with StreetText, and here's a great example when I'm talking about some different PDF examples or some of the remarketing ads that StreetText has pre-built, is you can see here all of these ads. So this ad was set at $3. So this particular user is setting them all at $3, but they'll only run one ad at a time. And he's got this one changing every day. So you can see an example is that in this case, we have the 13 ads that are running to a specific audience, but they're set at $3 a day. And so, because he's got many, he'd be spending $39 a day if he was running all these ads, all 13 of them at the same time, but he's only ever spending $3 a day. And then in 13 hours, you can see that this ad is going to turn off and this ad is going to automatically turn on. And what's really cool is you can actually track as well. Alongside of your spend, you can actually see how people are returning or re-engaging with the content. You can see how much it's costing you to reach that particular lead. And you have full flexibility over how you want to set up the audiences with this too. So you can control who sees it and who doesn't see these ads. So that's really the power of ad bundles. You can change the order. I could change the order of these ads. I could delete this ad out of an ad bundle, or I could add more ads to this ad bundle, and I could build out an ad bundle in almost perpetuity. If you think about it, an ad bundle is actually quite similar to an email nurture campaign. Let's say you have a lead and you want to stay in touch with them for, 6 months. You might have built out, 6 months worth of emails as an example. You could do the exact same thing with ads instead of emails. And you can have those ads repeat automatically. So once they hit the end, they can start to the top and go through. Well, you can't just keep emailing people the same content over and over. You can do that with ads. So that's the purpose of the ad bundles.
Yeah, really cool. I think this kind of also sheds light on, a lot of people tend to spend a lot of focus on generating leads, and they think if they need more business, they just need to generate more leads. But there's also another side of marketing, and that's remarketing, and these ad bundles help so much. And you can see on Chase's account that all of these are retargeting or remarketing ads to build that middle of funnel until they're ready to work with the agent.
Lena, you mentioned something really good there. And it's something I've been thinking a lot about lately too, is that remarketing is a bit more, it seems more sophisticated. and a little harder. I feel like we've done a really good job of making it incredibly simple and easy, and it's integrated with your Follow Up Boss. But I would say that remarketing should actually come before lead gen. It's to your point. I think a lot of people think they should generate new leads, but you already have a lot of traffic probably coming to your website. You probably have a decent sized database already, and you want to build a system around all of that, so that even if you're at an open house, or somebody comes and checks you out, if you meet them in person and they check out your website, you want to make sure that from that point on, they are then in your ecosystem and they're seeing your content. It could be testimonials, it could be market update videos, it could be just even videos about schools or the neighborhood. You want them to be seeing that. And so if you design the remarketing first and you build, and a great example is ad bundles, and you set that up, that's a really good way to warm up everybody in your database and every new lead that ever comes to your system. Then go and turn on the lead gen side. But if you do the lead gen first and you don't have any of this set up, then you've kind of got these leads coming in, but they're pretty cold, and you got to reach out to them, but they don't know who you are yet. And so I would actually argue that you should probably set up the remarketing first and then do the lead gen. So I think that's a really good point that you mentioned, is like, and actually these ads, if they're done right, because we have a bunch of audiences that can actually expand your reach, you can actually generate leads on them as well, brand new leads, because they all engage not just people in your database, but they can also engage people that are clicking on your ads, commenting on your ads, sharing your ads, but they're not even in your database. We can actually engage them too, and they can see your content. So when they become a lead, you'll see that they'll actually show up as a brand new lead. And then, of course, if they engage with other content, you'll be able to see that journey that I showed you earlier. We can actually track the history of that lead.
Yeah, I love that. I had never thought of it from that perspective of start with remarketing first with your current, not only database on Follow Up Boss, but also people who have seen you and they're kind of hiding. And so eventually they'll stop hiding. And whenever you're doing those remarketing to people that have come to your website, you've got the pixel installed, or you've got the Facebook pixel working as well, then you're able to do that full circle you're talking about. So a question for you then, let's say someone's watching and they say, well, this platform looks really cool. You can do lots of things, but I just don't have the time to do this. Even though you've made it so much easier, I still don't have the time. Does StreetText offer any sort of done for you services?
Yes. Yeah. So I think you said that well, because we really have tried to make it as simple as possible. And it's really easy to launch the ads. It's really easy to stay on top of them. But, if you're busy, or, you realize that your hour is worth much more out meeting with clients, building your team, or, even just following up with leads in general, which that is where your time is better spent, then we do have a system that's for $300 a month. You'll be a part of our ads team. And our team will then, you just tell them how much you want to spend and what you're looking for, and they will run all the ads for you. And again, you don't have to do it. You can use the platform without it. But for those that just want it done for you, turnkey, the whole system just works, it integrates really nicely with Follow Up Boss, I highly recommend it. Some of the advantages right out of the gate are also a lot of clients that move to the managed ad side that we offer. They actually spend less overall because they were already spending a fair bit on Facebook or on their marketing on Instagram and Facebook. But by going and using our platform, they drop their lead costs considerably. And so it actually pays for itself really quick. And then in addition to that, our team is obviously going to be optimizing for the lead costs. But if you were to hire somebody to run your ads for you, even if you're going to have an office manager run them, they're never going to run them as good as we can. And you're never going to spend as little as $300 a month. If you were going to hire an agency to do it for you, it's going to be at least $1,500 for them to do it for you. And so it's an incredibly inexpensive plan if you just want it done. All I want to do is log into Follow Up Boss. I want to work my smart lists. I always want to follow all the processes that Alina's got set up for me. But I want more leads. I want more remarketing. I want to make sure that there's no opportunities that are being missed. And I know that it'll impact my business. Then yeah, I would 100% add that on.
Yeah, very cool. So one other little known or a little talked about feature of StreetText isn't even the platform itself, but actually a community where you've got your own Facebook community, and there's a lot going on there. So can you touch a little bit about why you have that community and what people use it for?
Yeah. So we have a StreetText Insider group, and that group is very community orientated. if you are in the Follow Up Boss group, it's a similar feel in the sense that everybody's out to help each other. They've got each other's back. And I think one of the reasons that it's been working so well is that we do a weekly mastermind every Wednesday where you can come and join in and participate. You can ask questions, you can share some of your wins, or you can just listen to what other agents are doing, the systems that they're using, the strategies that they're trying. I mean, it was just, I think 2 masterminds ago, I saw a really cool video and I didn't even know how to do it, but I'd seen it before on Instagram Reels, but an agent was just showing how she takes her ads and puts herself in front of the video really quick. And then she sends that out in an email. And it's a great way to like personalize and show anybody or any contact that's coming through that you're a real person. And so there's just so many tips and tricks and strategies. And all of that's available if you're a StreetText member, of course. And the masterminds are just a great opportunity to kind of, every week get that opportunity just to take one thing away that can maybe mean one more deal for your business, right?
Yeah.
And actually, the other thing, and if we have time, I will show you a Google Sheet on it. But back to the predictable revenue concept. When you have the ads working and you're driving traffic and you have remarketing and it's all working, you got some great systems like Follow Up Boss and everything that Lena's built out, then the conversion rate, if you could just spend a little bit of time tweaking that, and you can move it by just 0.25% a quarter or every 6 months. And that might mean that you introduce video more into your communication, or it might mean that you add a little bit more follow-up to your process when you're reaching out, or maybe you just you send like you update your audience or all your sell leads with another CMA or whatever it is. If you can make these small tweaks to your conversion rate, the real estate side, the ROI is incredible with small little tweaks. And sometimes you just come to a mastermind and you hear one idea and you think to yourself, you know what, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna spend some time for the next 3 months really working on making that better in my business. And it has a huge impact on what a year can look like for you and what 2 years can look like in 3 years. So to me, that's really the value of surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I haven't had the chance to attend a mastermind, I've watched a lot of the recordings and I love that it starts out with asking if anyone has any wins and then digging into, okay, what was your strategy? How did you get to that win? And people have a lot of aha moments and light bulbs go off from those different ideas shared. And I love it. It's a small group of people. It's not like you got 100 people trying to talk over each other. It's a small group of like-minded real estate agents just willing and open to share. And it's just a really interactive conversational experience. So another question for you is, where is StreetText available? Is it available only in certain states in the US, the whole country, other countries? Who can use StreetText?
Yes. So we focus mostly on the North American side. So Canada and the US are our big areas, but we actually have clients that use us in the UK. We have Australian clients that use us. I'm trying to think where else we might have. We got a few clients kind of like scattered throughout the world, but it's mostly in the US and Canada. So if you're in any state in the US or any province in Canada, you can use our system. It's going to work the same for you. And there's a couple integrations that we have that are more like US based that don't work. I think like HomeBot's an example. But other than that, I mean, the system really is going to be the same for you.
Very cool. Well, if anyone wants to try out StreetText, I'm going to have a link in the description, and just, I think it's a 7-day free trial that y'all offer. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep, that's right. So if you wanted to come try out StreetText, come to the website, sign up for the trial. If you need more time, we can always extend it for you too. Don't panic if you get started, you get busy. But the whole objective of the trial is just to show you more the inner workings of the system. You get an opportunity to meet some of the team and generate some leads. So we don't charge you anything during the trial, but you'll still be paying for your ads in Facebook. And so that'll be the same. But if you just want to spend, say, like $9 a day and just try it out and see how it works, I mean, you can spend $10 a day, you can spend $2 a day. It's totally up to you. Our team will walk you through that. And I think one of the things I really want to mention too, when you're using a product or a platform like ours, is we don't take any of your ad spend. Any dollar you spend on marketing is going to go straight to the marketing channel. So we're not siphoning any of that off. We're using your own business page and your own ad account. So you keep everything that you do. And also you get to build your brand around that as well. So it's all your own assets, and it's fully transparent.
Very good. Very good to know. Well, I think that wraps up everything I wanted to ask you. I didn't know if you wanted to share any last tidbits about StreetText before we wrap up.
Any last tidbits? I mean, there's a lot of little hidden things in the product as well. For example, you might not know, but you know, Elena, but each ad actually, when you launch it, it comes pre-built with its own emails and text messages designed to start a conversation with the lead. And that's very unique to our product as well, because what that means is that if you're running a specific remarketing ad or a buyer ad or a seller ad, or you've got these different ads, you don't have to think about everything you want to say for that specific ad. Our system can actually do it. And then you can put a tag in at the end that can then automatically trigger the follow-up that you built with Elena. So for example, you could have a very unique offering on an ad, like maybe it's a listing and you wanted to send a specific text message or invite them to an open house or something. And then as soon as that automation's done, you can have a tag fire that then puts them on a completely different automation as well. And we're working hard to make sure that we can get all of those text messages sent in as notes inside of the Follow Up Boss system. So again, you can just log into Follow Up Boss, you can just see all of that populate, and you'll know what's going on from the communication standpoint. And if they respond, you can see that then as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Maybe that's just a little tidbit as well.
Yeah. Yeah. One other thing I thought of is, I don't know if you're okay with me saying that you're beta testing video ads right now
Yes.
in
Oh,
StreetText.
yes.
I'm really excited to have that released to the public.
Yeah. And the video ads have been doing incredibly well. I've been really, really pleasantly impressed with the results so far. We do a lot of testing on both our own side, but then also our clients, like our beta clients, get to play with these, and I get to see what they're doing. And I've been really, really impressed with that. So it's been awesome so far.
Very cool. Yeah, I've been using it and I've been loving it for sure. Well, I appreciate you doing this interview. And like I said, if you want to try out StreetText, there's a 7-day trial and definitely check it out. I use it even for myself, even though I'm not a real estate agent, and it's an awesome platform.
Thank you so much, Lena. Just for a great opportunity. And I know you have an amazing community. So if you do decide to sign up, we'll make sure that we just circle around you, help you get your Follow Up Boss set up and your ads running.
Awesome. Thanks.